Last summer, my uncle HT was preparing to take a long walk into town. Before Uncle HT left, I told him to do his best to walk slowly and carefully so he didn't take a great fall. My mother had recently told me the story of my grandfather, after whom my uncle was named. Grandpa HT had been on his way to visit the king when he passed a group of ducklings playing in a lake. In an earnest effort to get a better look at the baby ducks, Grandpa HT climbed atop the tallest wall overlooking the lake. When he'd settled into his seat, he realized he was very tired from the climb, and he closed his eyes and decided to take a long nap. When Uncle HT awoke from his nap, a mother duck was quacking loudly at him from the bottom of the wall. Uncle HT tried to explain that he was simply enjoying the nap, but the mother duck wouldn't listen. In a fit of protective rage, she climbed up the wall, picked up a pebble, and threw it at Uncle HT. The pebble hit him square in the forehead, causing him to take a great fall to the ground behind him. Uncle HT wasn't listening to me. My mother had given him money to buy flowers from a local florist in town, and Uncle HT was protesting that he could simply pick flowers from the garden just on the other side of the road on his way in. I desperately hoped that Uncle was listening because I loved him very much. Just as he was leaving, I reminded him to be careful. He smiled and closed the door behind him. The next day, a very old duck arrived at my house. She looked very sad as my mother opened the door. She told us that my Uncle HT had been sitting on the side of the road overlooking the flower garden when she'd blown her horn to wake him up. She said a very heavy rainstorm was coming his way, and she didn't want him to get wet. My mother started to cry. The old duck explained that when she blew her horn, my Uncle HT had been startled and frightened. He tumbled over the edge, rolled down the grassy bank, and took a great fall onto the sidewalk just outside of the flower garden. The duck had done everything she could think of. She'd even called the king's horses and called the king's men. She told us that she remembers a similar thing happening when she was just a duckling. A bunch of rotten kids had been throwing rocks at her and her brothers all day long. Her mother had gotten fed up and thrown a pebble at a young man sitting on a wall. All of a sudden, the duck seemed to realize that she had gone off on a tangent. She looked down at me sadly and said she was very sorry.